Okay, so our next deputation is from Christchurch Coastal Residents United, CCRU, and Simon Watts, the chair. Simon, good morning and welcome back to the table. It's only a few days since you were here as part of our annual plan process, so good to see you back here again, and thank you once again for taking the time to come and address Council. You have 10 minutes, including time for questions if you choose.
Thank you very much. We must stop meeting like this.
Or if it's useful, we must continue meeting like this.
Councillors, officers, CEO... thank you for this opportunity to address you. My name is Simon Watts. I'm the chair of CCRU. Give me one minute. And we're here to address item 22 in your agenda. Okay, this report, we want to thank the authors. We appreciate the difficulties you have. We don't agree with all of it, but I'll explain why we don't agree with all of it. And before we start, the earthquake is a lens over everything here. These are very special circumstances where we have an adaptation requirement and an earthquake damage requirement, which has led CCRU to suggest that in this very special circumstance, we need pre-adaptation before adaptation. Okay, thank you, Council. Thank you, officers, for hearing a lot of what we have said to you and others have said to you. We agree with your rejection of option 1. We agree the Council should take back responsibility for the earthquake repair processes and adaptation. We agree that these two processes should be separated. We agree that the HOW teams should be supported and the engagement process they have developed should be used for adaptation. That's a lot of things to agree on. We disagree about option 2, which is the favoured option. It's attractive at face value, but we object to it for 2 reasons, the most important being it's structurally impossible. The blue colour, is my mouse? I don't know, okay. The blue colour here, on my slide anyway, is to represent coolness, coldness. The state of community well-being is very, very poor. There's not very much capacity there. The process has the idea that the community will engage in parallel with separate repairs and adaptation processes and end up as a resilient, adapted community. The end point, absolutely, is where we want to be. Unfortunately, the well-being status of the community is not sufficient to meaningfully engage in the adaptation process, which it has to be for you to get the best outcomes. The second reason is that the original CC policy decision, with complete respect to you all, to roll earthquake repairs into adaptation, we believe is fundamentally flawed and does not understand the special nature of where we are in terms of a post-earthquake situation. So where are we? We've got broken communities. 8 years later, nothing has happened. We've got fear and we've got growing uncertainty. I keep hearing that action to do things will affect the future route of adaptation. Well, non-action also affects the future route of adaptation. And the non-action is undermining community well-being, which means that the situation doesn't get better and it undermines the community. This link between action and social well-being is interesting. In your matrix, option 3, you cite as an objection to option 3 that it may improve psychosocial well-being. Unfortunately, Psychosocial well-being is one of your legal responsibilities as a council. It's not an optional extra. CCRU would suggest that this previous policy of combining earthquake damage repairs with adaptation has undermined community well-being, and option 2, if it is very delayed with the work that you've suggested needs to be done, will do the same. Okay, so our objection to option 2 is we do not believe there is sufficient faith, trust or well-being to proceed it. And interestingly, the option commits to social and physical research only. This mouse is wonderful, but I keep losing it. There it is. Okay. Options 2 and 3 both require work and research beforehand, and from your document I've got these 3 areas that need research or work or understanding. This is a formal offer to you from CCRU to assist you to shorten the time this takes. The well-being state of the community, we heard John Cook earlier. You've got feedback from the HOW team, you've got feedback from the hub, you've got feedback from the community groups. I would suggest all of those results point the same way. You don't need more work to know that the well-being in this community is very, very poor and falling. Community consultation. Option 3, which is the one CCRU submitted, has the support of South Shore Residents Association, CCRU, the Community Board, and is also supported indirectly by the feedback you've had from the hub. I would suggest that attempting to do community consultation on this will fail because the communities are simply not willing to do it. The important one maybe is the impact of post-earthquake works on the estuary edge. Yes, you're going to use almost certainly LiDAR data before and after. The before data is shonky, and satellite data. We have a better suggestion or an additional suggestion. CCRU are prepared to share with you our photographic database, choose a few points on the estuary edge, and produce documents for you to show you before and after, and then, I'm sorry, an academic, take you on a short field course to those points with the documents you have to show you what we're talking about. We actually want to help. We want to speed this up. We think option 3 is the way forward so that you start the repairs. The community need to see to believe. They need a bit of faith here, which they haven't got. So start the earthquake repairs. You don't need to finish it. There's a concern about before you start adaptation. There's a concern that this will hold up adaptation. We could do this in a couple of months and start some of this work. That's not a delay in the context of what you're talking about for adaptation. And then you heat the community temperature from cold to warm, allows the warm to engage in adaptation, and bingo, you're where you want to be. We won't have time for questions, I don't think, but I'm going to try. So in summary, repairs to increase the well-being, to sort the then allow to sort the adaptation. 2 points which I'm happy to take outside of the room. The matrix you're using we consider is flawed and not consistent with best practice. We suggest that you should be looking at a resilience sustainability matrix. Outside the room is fine, I won't take time up now. We want to help. Finally, unusually, a comment for the Chief Executive. You are adopting a business as usual approach to your staffing. So I know a member of the HOW team is now at New Greenfields in Auckland, and her position as a planning team leader is organised. Bless you, I think you have more planners than you can shake a stick at. This is opening up vulnerability for the council. we suggest future-proofing the council. We think you need adaptation experts. There are a lot of them in Australia, European Union, and the US. There are very few of them in New Zealand. Please think about this. We don't want to be here fighting you. We want to work with you. Okay, the rest you've already seen. I'm not going to go through it. I'm going to stop now so we do have some questions. Thank you.
Now that brings us right to bang on the 10 minutes. And as I indicated at the beginning of the meeting, we were going to need to enforce the 10-minute limit quite strictly. So it doesn't, unfortunately, allow time for questions, which is unfortunate. Thank you very much indeed for your observations. And also, I've noted that offer of data sharing as well, which we appreciate. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.